here tonight is Jeff Annesley. And Jeff, I'm just going to introduce you for a sec. Thank you. And Jeff and his wife, Jessica, have been, well, first off, Jeff ran for council last election, okay? And Jeff and his wife have been passionate about overseeing our city council and witnessing the numerous bylaws that have come out over the last number of years. And they have some questions and their concerns particularly are around our safety as a community and also our rising taxes. So Jeff is going to come up here shortly and give us a real detailed look on where your taxes are going, okay? Oh, and I forgot, I have one more request, and this is to all the speakers here tonight. You know, we are going to hear a lot of information, and that information might be, you know, pretty heavy at times to hear, right? And my request or my challenge to the speakers tonight is if you can leave us with some solutions as well, okay? And so, because we all want solutions too, right? Yep. Yeah, the world's heavy enough to live in. We want to create a night here tonight where we've got some focus and some direction and where we can go with things. So without any further ado, Jeff, come on up. Thanks for helping out.
All right, hello everyone. Welcome to the local taxes part of the Nanaimo Town Hall Part 2. My name is Jeff Annesley, and tonight I'm going to do my presentation in two parts. First is just the raw numbers on taxes, and second is how it is spent and how I see some problems and how it's spent. So I just tell you a little bit about myself. I'm just a blue collar working guy. I have been my whole life. I got really interested in the Nanaimo city politics back in 2017 when we had a referendum for sports facility. I was very much on a no side. I really think we should have a WHL team because we have one in Victoria. It just kind of makes sense to have a WHL team, but I don't think the taxpayers should subsidize an arena. And then I started watching the city council, and I think it happened in 2016, but there was a punch up between a city councilor and a city staff member. I don't know if anyone remembers that. It was on camera, and it actually went international, and it was kind of funny for me because I wasn't involved. But that got me interested in what was going on. And of course, then the tent city issue came up, and we had the biggest tent city in Canada at that time, and that became a very international issue. And so I watched the 2018 election with a tremendous amount of interest. I began to watch city council meetings online, and then I began to show up at city council meetings just to observe, just to see what was going on, just to see how things work, because I didn't really know how city politics work. I was very interested in national politics and provincial politics, but not city politics. And so then I ran in 2022, and I lost. But I kept going, and I go more and more now, and I try to watch committee meetings, and I try to attend committee meetings, and I feel like I have a bit more grasp. I'm not an expert, okay? These are just my observations. These are just how I see things, and just as a working class guy and having attended the city council meetings for the last number of years now. All right, so here's just a breakdown of what the city has for our taxes for this year. It's an average of 7.7% increase this year on a house of $782,808. As I say, which works out to $3,741 in property taxes and utilities. And if you can see that actually the assessment, the city says the assessments for housing gone down by 2.83% from 2023. And so I just want to explain, some people like my taxes went way up, some people like my taxes didn't go up 7.7%. So I'm just saying how the city does taxes. So the province allows every municipality independence to decide how they want to do percentages. So if you own a house that depreciated more than 2.83%, your interests are actually lower. Okay, because some people will say, well, I got way more than 17%, but way less. So if you're below, if you're depreciating more than 1.3%, your percentage is lower. If you appreciated or you depreciated by say 1.5%, or you appreciated above that, your percentage is higher. So that's why some of you see your tax money going way up this year. All right. So here's the last 10 years of tax increases in the city of Nanaimo. As you can see, that one looks pretty good right there. So these were the available years, and Miracle got elected in 2018, but really his first year was 2019, and of course, just to be fair, 3D council came in on 2022, but that's been the increase since the mayor has come in. Okay, and this is just a snapshot of some other municipalities, so we're not in the ordinary here. My wife did a little bit of a dive into Canvas because in terms of population, not that different from us, and it really isn't that much different. So if you're watching this at a different municipality, a lot of things I'm saying probably apply to you too. All right, this is just a quick snapshot of our utilities. This is 2024, 6% for water, 4% for sewer, and 3.2% for garbage. And of course, we have the different rates now that's been brought in. Last year, we had water increased by 6.6%, we had sewer by 4%, and garbage by 2%. That was in 2023. And so this is the 2023 numbers, and these are the numbers that were collected in terms of water. In terms of sewer and in terms of garbage. So 25 million for water, 9 million for sewer, and 8 million for garbage. Now, most of the figures I'm going to show you are 2023 because that's the last time you have actual figures. A lot of what you'll see for 2024 are just projections. And if you go online and look for anything that says 2024. All right, so this is regional district of Nanaimo taxes, because of course we pay RDN taxes as well. So Nanaimo went up 9.8% for 2024. For 2023 was 9.2%. For 2022 was 9.9%, and for 2021 6.5%. So we are seeing great appreciation in the numbers. We're seeing them climb everywhere, not just in terms of our property taxes, but also the RDN. Now, I really want to point this out. I found an anomaly when I was doing my research. So everybody can see that number right there, right? $30 million for 2023, 34 million dollars. That's what the city pays the RDN. Okay. So 2023, $30 million. Now, if you look, this is from the financial. I'll be showing more on this towards the end. But look what we paid. Look what the city says we paid $38 million in 2023. So I'm saying it's an anomaly. I'm not saying anything. I have no evidence to suggest anything, but it's a little interesting. The RDN said they got $30 million for us to get. The city says that we gave them $38 million. It's an anomaly. I don't know, as my dad said, well, what's another $8 million, right? All right, so this is just, this is your mill rate. So I want to make sure I get this right. Okay. I know what it is anyways. Okay, the mill rate is basically it's $1 for every $1,000 you pay $1 in tax for $1,000 your house is assessed at. And so ours is $6.42 on average. Now that goes up and down. Some people pay more, some people pay less. And that is your total tax. Okay, so that's everything. That's not just property tax. That's total tax. And you'll see that as percentages when you look at your tax bill. Okay, and so I also wanted to say that this includes industrial and commercial. And sometimes when we talk about taxes, we forget what industrial and commercial pays. So the top commercial payer in 2023 was Woodrow Mall at $4.6 million. The top industrial in 2023 is Harmac at $1.9 million, and the top utilities was BC Hydro at $1.9 million. All right, so the operating expenses in 2023 for the city of Nanaimo was $206 million. And revenues was $278 million, which is a surplus of $72 million. It's
So the city had a surplus this year, or last year, sorry, of $72 million. Okay, now I'm going to talk this. So I'm going to explain where that surplus goes in a minute. These are our reserves and our assets that the city owns. It's over $1 billion as of 2023. Now, the vast majority of this is assets, obviously buildings, land, that sort of thing. So it's about roughly $180 to $190 million in reserves. Okay. I did have a thing. I don't know. I lost some of my page. Okay. The city maintains operational reserves that provide future funds for infrastructure and strategic investments. Contributions to operating reserves are through allocation of prior year surplus and through annual contributions. The city has statutory reserve funds that are authorized by the community charter or by city bylaws. The purpose of setting aside reserves is to provide funding for anticipated future expenditures, to ensure sufficient funds and available when required, and to limit the need to incur debt or require large increases in taxation and user fees. Contributions to statutory reserves are through annual allocations of general revenue, user fees, and development cost charges. Much of the development and cost overruns by the city actually comes out of our reserves. This council sets that 1% of all new tax increases go to reserves and asset management. The new reserves are created from time to time. At the bottom of this one, you can see the Climate Action Reserve was created after the city declared a climate emergency in 2019. At the last council meeting, they discussed taking $75,000 for each of the next 3
years out of this fund to put electric bike lock stations with chargers at end of trip installations. Another example of funds taken out of reserves is cost overruns for Metro Drive of $1.4 million. In order to facilitate this, the city took $875,000 from Community Works Reserve, $35,000 from Sewer Reserve, and $490,000 from their Water Reserve. Or the Midtown Gateway Project budget, which increased recently for storm sewer infrastructure for $72,500 from the Drain Reserve, an increase in the budget of $4.8 million for their from the Water Reserve Fund for the Midtown Water Supply Project. Now, in a sense, in a weird way, it's almost like a shell game because you think, well, it's just coming out of reserves. Who cares, right? But again, you get taxed and that gets put back in the reserve. So that is really a lot of the way this is done. But I actually like this because in part because we get interest on this. As opposed, if we just loan money, we pay interest, where at least we're getting some money out of this. So I prefer this as opposed to borrowing money. All right, so now we're going to talk about salaries. Okay, so that's your city councilor salaries. So everybody gets around $51,000 and the mayor gets $129,000. Now, you're going to want to hear this. Well done, Mayor Krogh. Look at that, $1,400 in expenses. I know that maybe some of you might sound a lot, and good on the mayor. Several years he's had low expense accounts. The previous mayor, Bill McKay, in his last year, which was only 10 months, remember, because he didn't run, so he was out by November. So Mayor Krogh became mayor in November 2028. Bill McKay had $29,000 in 2018 in expenses. And some of you might be concerned about these councillor ones. Yes, those are a little high, but Councillor Diane Brennan in 2018, again, only for 10 months, had $36,000 in expenses. So now I'm going to torpedo that a little bit though, because Mayor Crowe's salary has gone up about $20,000 and the councillor's salaries in 2018 were $37,000. So they've gone up $14,000 in that time. And I didn't know this, but I learned this, and some people knew this in the room, actually, that most of our councillors do sit on the RDN board, and they get paid for doing that. So so as you can see, it's more close to $75,000 to $80,000 for most councillors, and this is a floating chair. So I know Councillor Brown was the chair in 2022, so he got that salary, including as well as the salary in the council. Okay. Now, we're going to talk about city staff. So from 2019 to 2023, we had a hiring of basically 101 new employees. And we are seeing growth in the city. There's no question about it. And of course, there's retirement. So that's just overall an increase in our people that work for the city of 101. Now, just for fun, I wanted to see what the previous 4 years or 5 years was like. So overall, for the previous 5 years, we hired 2 new people. All right. Okay, so this from 2023, that was overall the amount we pay in salaries right here. Okay. So I'll let you know by BC law, anybody making over $75,000 as a city employee have to report their names and their expenses. Now, I didn't want to point anybody's names out. This is public information. If you want to go see what the names are, you're free to do that. I'll give you a breakdown of the numbers. Of the 862 employees we have, 443 make over 75,000, and of those, 198 make over 100,000. So 198 employees make over 100,000. The highest salary was former CAO Jake Rudolph, who made $281,000, but he would have made well over 300,000, but he left his position in September 2023. All right, so I'm going to go show you what the 2018 numbers were. So in 2018, our city staff was 54 million. So in a process, remember that was 2023. So in a process of 5 years, we've seen an increase in $12 million in salary, which is roughly about 22%. Okay, here's our debt. Right now it stands at $38 million, and I'm going to give the city a lot of credit here. Not only has it gone down from 41 here, but in 2021, it was 46 million. So in 2 years, we've seen our debt drop by $8 million. Now, that isn't paying it off. That's just letting debt expire. So again, I think this is very good. And I'm going to highlight 2 things from this. I'm going to highlight up here, that's actually the conference center. I'm going to talk about that. But just before that, really quickly, I'm going to talk about the garbage trucks. We just purchased one, which looks like about $1.2 million in 2023. And I'm going to show you some. I was given a document about the NOC by someone from the Con Oversight Society, and I looked through it, and this page stuck out to me. I posted this earlier on. It appears that our city is going to be switching to electric garbage trucks starting next year. So we started with our CNG trucks, which are natural gas trucks with the arms, in 2017. And we will begin replacing. They say it's an 8-year schedule. Now I looked up, most regular garbage trucks are 10 to 15 years lifespan. So it looks like by 2031, we will phase out all of our CNG trucks and we'll go fully electric. Okay, I want to talk about the conference center. So the conference center was voted on in 2004 in a referendum and it won, built in 2009 at a cost of $80 million. And since then, we basically have had an operating loss of $1 million a year. As you can see here, so you can see as I've highlighted. Now it goes up and down, and it has come down a little bit here. Now, really? I'm like not even halfway through. Okay, well, I want to talk about the Marriott. The Marriott was sold this land right beside the conference center in order to facilitate the conference center. 2 other big franchises were asked to come here and build. They said no. Marriott said yes, but on a condition. They got the land for $750,000 in 2017, and they are given a tax-exempt status. Now, in 2011, the city brought in a downtown revitalization tax-exempt status, which means any motel that's going to spend more than $2 million can get 10 years tax-exempt. Now, no motel took this until the Marriott was built. Now, and it took the tax-exempt status as well as the new Quality Inn. So there are other tax-exempt parts of the city as well. Let's see here. So also in 2018, the downtown revitalization tax exempt status was moved to actual private property, and there are 10 plus properties that are promising to build or have built low-income housing and multi-unit, and they get 10 years of tax exempt status. Okay. And we do have other tax exempt entities in town, such as museums, religious institutions, and societies, which adds up to about $1.8 million in tax exempt, excluding this. Okay, this is a bunch of our infrastructure that was done back in 2023. Just a list of a few projects. But I'm going to talk about some of the complete street stuff. Metro Drive is a complete street. And the reason the complete street is part of the 15-minute city, and you can look this up, put complete street and 15-minute city in. I'm just not a big fan of 15-minute city, so this is part of what current infrastructure I wanted to deal with. Okay, so. So Metro Drive, according to the city, cost $13.6 million, estimated at November 22. Of course, there was damage to water pipes during a storm in 2019 that was used as an excuse to build a complete street, and there was a good reason for that. 4th Street is a complete street. $4.4 million estimated cost with an additional $475,000 that was put towards it in May of this year. Of course, 5th Street is a complete street with the corner of Bruce and 5th. At Front Street, $1.4 million. That's a complete street. I'll show you right. It says right here, complete street. 3rd Street, you're getting completed in mid-2025. And of course, the Midtown Gateway project is also a complete street, as people at Box would know. Now, this was also started because of an infrastructure or a water main break in 2020. So the cost of this project is estimated at about $55 million. And as I said, they've drawn over $5 million as out of the reserves to add to that. Extension, you're not complete street yet, but you're getting traffic calming. That's part of the complete street infrastructure. Traffic calming, bollards, road narrowing. Anybody on Terminal Avenue, that's road narrowing. Okay, Commercial Street. Everybody knows Commercial Street's getting done on September 3rd. And that's for $4 million, but this is phase 1. So I've been at a city council meeting where they're talking about multiple phases, including moving the Cenotaph and redesigning Diana Krall Plaza at a cost of about $14 million. This is future projects, okay? This is what we're talking about, and this is all gonna go on our debt. So these top 4 are the top priority for the city right now. But altogether, the city staff estimated that this would be about $660 million. And so that chart, some of you know this chart. So by 2031, which is this right here, that's where this is saying your debt will be up to close to $700 million. And that's not including the 38 that's on it right now. Okay, so these are grants that are given out by the city that are over 25,000. I'm just going to briefly talk. Rise Bridge is on there. Some people know that. That's the warming center on Prudhoe. You've got the Nanaimo Systems Planning Organization that's getting probably around close to $500,000 this year, up from 280 there. They basically do research on homelessness and are looking for warming centers. And there's the Nanaimo Prosperity Corporation. I had a bit more of a spiel on them, but I'm trying to hurry up here. They basically are working with different partners in the city to implement the donut economics. And they're going to get close to $1 million this year. So that's about $6 million. This is 2023, okay? Want to find out what 2018 was? 1.83 million. So in the space of 5 years, grants that are over 25,000 have gone up by $4 million. This is a snapshot from a city council meeting in January of under 25,000. This is one meeting in January that they put out $250,000. So, you know, just, it's not even like I'm against all these. It's just, you got to know this is what's happening, right? And most city council meetings, there's usually 1 or 2 grants I see being given out. So, you know, you got 25,000 here for the Nanaimo Jazz Festival. You know, I don't know if you can see them all, but in any event. So this one was really important to me. I wanted to discuss, I'm almost done, so just bear with me. This is contractors and consultants that are, and some of these are really good. Like not everything on here, there's a huge list of them. And it amounts to $274 million for 2023 that were given out to contract. Like Acer Landscaping got $1.3 million for doing landscaping. That's fine. Napit, which is a pipe laying outfit, got $25 million, but they're helping with the piping. And in the infrastructure in town. But as I like to do in this presentation, I want to show you what it was in 2018. 182 million. That means in 5 years, this has gone up almost $100 million. And just this, if you go on to City of Nanaimo, you can get quarterly reports. These are just a snapshot of a couple of the reports that I picked out, and I thought you guys would have fun here. This one up top was $30,000 to give kids an assignment about climate change. This one was $30,000 to having to do with our carbon emissions, our carbon standards. I believe this has to do with how we're eliminating natural gas. This one is traffic monitoring and data collection, $15,000. And this one was the best one. I really like this one. Check out this company, Get Go Inc. You know our cameras on top of our lights? This is for a single one, $33,800. All right. So sorry, I had to speed up. I had a few more things, but that's my presentation. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so Jeff, hold on. And again, as we mentioned, we're going to do a Q&A session now. And so you're going to come up here if you have questions. And you're just going to form behind me. And I'm the moderator. We've got a short period of time to ask a question. And that's Jeff. And looking forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, that is a lot to try to put in one, so I appreciate all the research you've done. On that last thing that you mentioned, so the city is using some taxpayers' money, and like even one of the cameras, if a camera costs $33,000, that's more than just counting cars that go by. So is there like additional surveillance that is being set up in the infrastructure for part of this?
I don't know. I don't, you know, I'm just giving you the numbers. It's possible. I can't see behind the curtain when I'm there. So I'm just giving you the information I know, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, excellent. Hey, next question, come on up. This is your chance, right? These are important issues, and we want to hear from you. And I'll just remind you as you're asking a question, this is being live streamed. And so that's my consent on that. Anybody else? Oh, we have more questions. Come on over. Yep, you're going to come up to the microphone, please. Okay, excellent. Thank you. And just introduce your name, too.
Hi, my name is Nomi Barha. Jeff and I do know each other. But I have a question. So the camera on top of the lamp, what was the budget for that? How many of them existed now?
I didn't get into that. That was just from a quarterly report. So I just got from a single one, but they're on quite a few. I mean, as you drive around, you can see them.
Right.
Cheryl,
do you have any idea? Well, I'm so glad that she's here. Thank you for showing up, Cheryl. Thank you. Oversight group, COM, Stephen and I are oversight group, and Cheryl is on, and she answers questions, so don't hesitate to join our group. But thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you.
How many of these?
I actually don't know, but I know there's quite a few, and one of the reasons for it is just to try and get traffic flowing properly. Like, I don't know if you guys remember the debacle that happened on Bowen and by the, what the heck's that name? The town site, by the Legion, when they took away the left turning lane, and then you couldn't do anything, so they started to realize through the cameras that this was a very poor decision, and that was changed. So that's one of the reasons they used them, but as to the number, I don't know. But I'm sure there's a lot. I'm not going to say there's not, because I'm pretty sure there is.
I have a follow-up question for you since we have you up there, Cheryl, if you don't mind. When you guys are in council, do you sit there and legitimately ask, how can we cut costs for these people who are desperately trying to recover from the pandemic? Food costs, gas costs, regular property taxes, whatever. Do you guys sit there and say, how do we slap, where can we slap? Can we-
Yes, we do. We look a lot about like how many new hires there are. That's a big thing. One of the reasons your taxes have gone up so much, and this is just my personal opinion, and when I ran, I've always said I can't not lower taxes because if you want to keep the services you want, contract negotiations, there's been a huge increase in the RCMP salary, which cost us additional $12 million. Fire cost us more money. We are short right now probably 60 police officers, and I'm very concerned that the union is going to come and become involved and say, we want those bodies, because if it's a municipal police force, you would have it. They didn't ever keep our fire department up to the place where it needed. I don't know if people are aware, but at one point there was only 12 firemen for the entire city. That's not enough.
Okay.
So we look at all of that. Like for me, I think, I don't know if Jeff went into it, but one of the big taxes that is huge this year when you look on your tax bill was the hospital tax rate and the library. That's RDN. My RDN taxes, when I looked on my tax bill, made up 30% of what my total tax bill was. So just something to think about. The regional district, I voted against the raise this year because they increased by a huge number of staff, which I didn't believe was needed. But we do have these discussions. And the other issue where we saw an increase in staffing was in the CSO hiring, which is to help with the downtown. That was 10 new hires, as well as our IT section, because I don't know if you're aware, there's been a lot of cyber attacks. Saskatoon lost about $500,000. So we had to beef up our security, and that requires specialists. Thank you. And anytime you guys have questions, please email us. We do answer them.
We have a few minutes left, and we have a couple more questions. Yeah.
I bought the house back in June and moved from Brooklyn here. For me, they're so messy. The water bill, the account is from the previous owner, and the big number there making me very confusing. So I went to the city, and it seems everything should be decided by the manager, and it takes about 3 weeks, no decision yet. So for me, the water bill should be cut from the previous owner to the next one, right?
Yeah.
The very clear from 0 to whatever new numbers. And also, there are 3 units, which 2 is unauthorized. I do not know from what time, but now these 3 units charge 3 different zoning bills for one property, for one lot, which is confusing me. There are 3 pipes or 1 pipe. So, and so far, I just read the information, 100 more employees hired in this year. Who are they and what they are doing? Because for me, it is kind of low efficiency, and I'm not happy for that.
I was going to say, sure.
Well said that I did know, I had to skip over, but I did know that we hired 20 new firefighters and 12 new CSOs last year. Well, we're going to hire 20 more in 2025 though, right? We haven't hired them yet, right? Okay. So I did know, I just didn't get a chance to get, I had to speed up because of time concerns, so. Yeah.
Have you looked at all about, we have projects we need to do,
Yeah.
must do, and we have projects that are nice to do.
Yeah.
And the nice to do things tend to be isolated here, there, around the space. Perhaps a fantastic look at that is Metro Drive.
Absolutely.
The money actually came from the province, but of course, where did the province get its money? Most of it came from them, but we gave money and it came from there. Do we have any idea whether the taxes increase that are generated by some of these projects ever occurs? Is it paying, are some of these projects paying themselves off, even minimally?
Well, like I said, in terms of Metro Drive, because of the
2019, I know some of the pipes had to be replaced, but that didn't mean we needed to put in the complete street infrastructure. I think that's just so on the city itself. Like I said, the city did say we paid $13.6 million. It does say that on the city website, so it's not all provincial, and 18% of that was for the bike lanes, and that is $2.5 million. So to me, and some people like it, that's okay. But to me, that's a waste of money. Right? So, and as I said, 1% of this, since Mayor Krog's been in, 1% of all tax increases, and the city will break this down, 1% of all tax increases goes to infrastructure and reserves. So yes, your tax increases are paying for some of the stuff, because a lot of it does come out of the reserves.
That are generated by these operations.
But I hear what you're saying in terms of needs and wants. Yeah.
Just a quick question. The hospitals are entirely funded by the province and the pharmaceutical companies, or does the city have any allocation in funding hospitals?
Well, we do pay some taxes in hospitals, but
We do pay the taxes, but do we,
For those that aren't aware, the only people that get their hospitals paid for by the province is Lower Mainland. The rest of us have to pay 40% of the capital costs. So for the new build for the regional district of Nanaimo Hospital, we're probably going to be, our share of the cost will probably be close to $1 billion. So that should be discussed at the provincial government level, because it's grossly unfair, because they say, well, the Lower Mainland pays for transit, right? But the grants that they get are way in excess of what we get for hospitals. And if you take a look at your tax bill this year, I think we raised the taxes by 28% to start collecting for the build. And that's for the cath lab and for the, well, no, and the cancer clinic separate. The province is paying for that. That was an election promise made by Horgan. But the rest of them, there's a thing called Fair Care Alliance. Please check it out and get on board with that and make that an election issue. Thank you.
It does.
Hi, I'm a senior. I have a mobile home, and I moved there a few years ago, and I was paying $100 every year for my taxes. This year, I got a bill for from $100 to $379.24. That's a little bit more than 38% increase. I'm not really great at math. I never have been, but I was shocked.
yeah.
I was absolutely shocked. And still in my area, there's still big potholes. Nothing's been done for me. I went to pay my bill, and I did pay it. And the girl was almost crying, because she said there were so many people, so many senior citizens that had gone up to her, and she was crying, and she said, I don't know what to say. You know, I don't know what to say, because the bills were so high. It's either you pay for your medicine, you pay for your food. Oh, you pay for your food, or do you know what I mean? Like, what do you do with $379 when you get it just like this?
Yeah.
What is it?
The only thing I can say from a technical standpoint, as I said at the beginning, is if they assess the value higher, your percentage will higher. But I'm surprised that, because they need someone else that will still pay.
I have gone around the circuits. I have called City Hall. I have called, they sent me to somewhere else and somewhere else and somewhere else. And then they finally said, oh, it's assessment. I called assessment, and they said, listen, we just go by what is around your place.
Yeah.
But it just goes around and around. How can we live like this when we're getting nothing in return?
Yeah.
It's not fair. $379? That's a out of $1,500, I've got to pay this.
That's why I did this. Yeah, that's why I did this presentation, because I feel the exact same way as you.
Thank you for your time. We're past our time now, and so we're going to be moving forward. And I thank you all for your participation. And I wish we had days. Maybe we should do that. Should we do like a day long Nanaimo Town Hall sometime? I'd be good for that. Because like one of these issues we could go so much deeper into all of them. And I think your questions, they're leading us in a way to really hear from the people what their issues are. And so I hate to cut any one of you off, but I'm just directing the night forward. And so we have a next speaker. And first off, thank you, Jeff, for all the work that you put into that.